one often hears that the purpose of Parliament, how it was envisioned, is that actually working the way it should be working?
I personally think not. And I can explain to you why not at some length, but I'm not sure we have the time. First, it's not working the way it should be in the sense that none of the traditional parliamentary conventions are respected by the ruling party anymore. The desire to take the opposition along with them is simply not there. They feel they have the majority, it's my way or the highway. Whereas when we were in office, there was a genuine desire to accommodate as much as possible both the principal opposition party and other parties, so that things could be done in a collegial spirit. That's gone. There was a convention that because 8 of our 24 parliamentary committees are normally chaired by the opposition, that we would give the opposition some responsible committees. And what is more, that since the inception of the parliamentary committee system, the External Affairs Committee was always chaired by an opposition member to convey the sense that our country is one when it comes to India's place in the world. That too has been turned upside down by the BJP. They've taken the External Affairs Committee away from me, as it happens, but from the opposition, and kept it for a BJP member. And even other powerful committees like Finance and Home, which in the past were chaired by opposition MPs, are now being chaired by the ruling party or its allies. Even the IT committee, that was my sort of consolation prize after I was booted out of External Affairs, that's also been taken away from me and given to a BJP ally. So this kind of thinking, that we want only tokenism for the opposition and all substantive power must rest in our hands, has undermined deeply the tradition of parliament committees working collegially. Thirdly, you've actually had an astonishing situation where in this current Lok Sabha, barely 16% of bills have been referred to committees before being discussed in the House. In our time, it was more like 60 or 70%. And in earlier Lok Sabhas, as high as 90% of the bills were brought first to committee, discussed threadbare, and then with their suggestions taken into account, then presented for discussion and voting in the House. That's the way the committees are supposed to work. 16% from the BJP. Now you tell me, if so few bills are being discussed, will there ever be an opportunity to apply one's mind seriously to issues before they're brought to a vote?
And why do you think that is? Why has
because
politics changed?
Because they are not really interested in taking people along with them. They really have this attitude that they've been given the people's mandate or the God-given mandate to rule this country according to their lights.
And you think that's the politics the public should expect in the near future, or do you think it's likely to change? That one would assume that when in the new parliament building, as you said, when everyone marched, I was waiting to see some intermingling between party MPs, the leader of opposition and the PM marching together, or something of the sort. It was just
that polarization is the other thing that's so disappointing. It is extended even to very little socializing between opposition and government MPs, which I think is a great pity, because there was a time when we understood that we are each other's adversaries, we are not each other's enemies.
But you still hang out, you socialize.
Yeah, so you have social relations, you talk, you speak to people, you go to their dinner parties, you invite them for lunch, you celebrate festivals together, whatever, because you're all ultimately comrades in a certain cause serving the nation. There's very much less of that than before.
Why do you think that is?
I think that the climate has become extremely partisan on both sides. And it's partially because some of the fundamental sort of consensual areas of our polity have been breached. I mean, let's face it, till a few years ago, everyone broadly had the same idea of India, the idea in the constitution, this country belongs to everybody. Everyone of every faith has an equal stake. Everyone, goes along. I mean, now you're seeing the entire demonization of certain minorities, for example.